Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful Sunday evening. As you see the green screen in the background, that only means one thing, and that is that we will be followed up the shir with a chok, starting, believe it or not, Parshas Mitzayra. Wow. Moving along. Mark is cheering us on, and we are sponsored by Baruch Ian, Lila Nishmas Yaakov Chaim Ben Abba, Esther Bas Gittel, Avram Ben Shmuel HaKoyin, Yaakov Yemansky, Hakar Satov to the Rav and the Zoom family, and Nachas from children and grandchildren, A.B. Spry for Nachas from his children and grandchildren, and Salah from London, Joshua Rosenberg, a virtual Talmud, and Shalom Fogel, Lila Nishmas Yaakov Zev, Ben Reb Yehuda Aryeh, Maris Rivka Bas Reb Yaakov Yosef, Maris Tzivya Miriam Bas Reb Gad, Reb Yosef Ben Sion, Ben Reb Yaakov Zev. We also learned for our Chaver Hadaf, Shimon Yehuda Ben Gittel, you should have a refuah shalema b'seich shar cheli Yisrael. We welcome in tonight Aaron Swade and, back online, the Goodis Yisrael of Fairways contingent. The camera is not so good. I could only see your foreheads. But I do see that Berish Kesselman is there, and Rich Leonard, that's good. Rich Leonard is there, Ruvain Shannon is there, and Michal Avram is back at his post. And it's good to see everybody. I've been missing Rich, we've been missing you in action. Eddie Chazan, Baruch Ian, Mark Frankel, Irving Fishbaum, Saba, Dr. Guy, Yitzi Fuchs, Menachem Yemansky, Shalom Fogel, Yisrael Fisher, Dr. Black, Ruvain Pollack, Chaim Kramer is back, Nachman Chaplin, Moshe Lehman, Yitzi Muller, Ilya Shutman, and we welcome David Helfgott on Kol HaLashon. And we are holding by Bava Basra Daf, and this is 4 lines from the bottom of Daf Lamed Beis Amud Beis. This is an interesting situation. Bava Basra Daf was a very pious individual. What happened was he gave $10,000 as a loan to Yaakov, and it was with a mashkanta desura arrangement that he would use it for 10 years, and that would pay back the loan. He got a piece of land from Yaakov, and he would use it for 10 years, and then when he finished, he would return it. In the interim, Yaakov took another loan from him, besides the $10,000. He also took a $3,000 loan from him, which they didn't make a mashkanta agreement. And then Yaakov died. And now there's Yisayimim, Ruvain, Shimon, and Levi are Yisayimim. So Bava Basra Daf, he kept the land even after the 10 years. So Nafik Alei Kala, there went a rumor about him, to Ka'achal Aradi Yasme, that he's taking advantage and consuming the land of orphans. So Abaya told Bava Basra Daf, tell me exactly what's going on. I mean, Abaya understood that Bava Basra Daf is a Erlich Yid, and he said, okay, so tell me what's going on. Amalei Abaya, Emily Ize, tell me now, Gufa de Uvda Heichava, what the story is. So Amalei, so he said, look, Arba Mishkantav and Nakitna Mavuan. I had the land with a collateral arrangement that I was going to keep 10 years to be paid back the $10,000 from Yaakov. However, after that $10,000, he also owed me other money. I used it already for the 10 years. So Amina, I figured, if I would return it back to the orphans, and I want my other $3,000, I would have to swear. And I said to myself, the father owes me other money. He owes me $3,000. If I return the land, so Emer Rabbanan habali para menichse Yisaimim. If you want to collect from Yisaimim, lo yipara ela b'shmua. You shouldn't collect only with a shmua. And we know that righteous people do not want to make a shmua. Shmua is considered very frowned upon not to make a shmua. So he said, I figure like this. El achbeshe l'shtar mashkanta. I'll hide the document of the collateral. So now, I had the land already 10 years. I had it years of chazakah. I could claim that I bought it. And therefore, migu that I could claim that I bought it, I would be believed to say that the father owes me another $3,000 because I could have claimed that I bought the whole land. I'll hide the document that I have it for collateral, and I'll keep it for the remaining $3,000 work of the second loan. Since I have a migu that I could have said that I bought it, mehemna I would be believed ki amina dis li zuzagabaychu. I would be believed to say, no, the land is yours, but your father owed me $3,000, and therefore mehemna I would be believed. So Abaye told him it's a wrong calculation. The reason why it's a wrong calculation is because everybody knew that the land was by you as collateral. Amalei lekucha biyadi. Says Amali lekucha biyadi lo matzis amrit. You wouldn't be able to have said that I bought it. Do'ika la kala, there is a curl, there is a awareness. The aradiyasmehi. Remember, there was a shtar that was a mishkanta desura, and a shtar has a curl, and therefore everybody knew that it was the land of the Yisayim, and therefore you wouldn't be able to claim that it was your land. So you don't have a migu. Elazilla hadran ni'alayu. Rather, give them immediately back their land. Now, you can't ask for the $3,000 now. The reason why you can't ask the $3,000 now is because you have to wait until the Yisayim grow up. And when the Yisayim grow up, then then you could litigate with them, and you'll swear that they owe you, the father owed you $3,000, and then you'll be able to collect it. Now, the next case, as we welcome in Marshall Castle, and I don't know why David Helfgott is saying that we're not on Kol HaLashon. We are on Kol HaLashon, but okay. So now, the next case of the Gemara, as we welcome in Avram Rezepkowitz, good to have you. We miss you in shul, but good to have you. Says the Gemara, Kreva de Rav Idi bar Avin, a relative of Rav Idi bar Avin Shokiv, died. Vishavik Dikla, and he left a palm tree. So Rav Idi bar Avin said, Anok Krev not Tvei, I'm the closest relative. Hahu Gavra, and you know what the gematria of Hahu Gavra is. Hahu Gavra is Marshall Castle in Swahili. So Vahu Gavra, and Marshall says, Anok Krev not Tvei, I'm more closer relative. Now, neither one could prove which one was the closer relative, and in such a case, the rule is Kol da Olam Gvar. Whoever is more mighty prevails. And, Marshall came with a few thugs, and he took hold of the palm tree. Rav Idi bar Avin backed away when he saw the wrenches and all the other stuff, and Marshall took action. L'saif, at the end, Marshall fessed up. And Marshall admits, that that Rabbi Bar Avin was a close relative. So they took the tree away from Marshall, and they ordered it to Rabbi Bar Ukma Rav Chisda biyadei. So now Rabbi Bar Avin said, look, Marshall had the tree for 8 months. Let him reimburse me for the figs that he ate during the 8 months. Rabbi Bar Avin said, Rabbi Bar Avin is, no pushover. Now that Marshall is not holding the wrench in his hand, so Amalei lahadali peri de achama yumad ashta. Let him return, since he admits now that I'm the closer relative, and he was in the occupied unlawfully. Let him return to me the figs that he ate from when he took it until now. Amar, so Rav Chisda said, Zeu shaimer malav adam gadalu. This is the one that says that he's a great person. Aman kasamach mar. Who are you relying on? Marshall went ahead on his own, and he admits that Rabbi Bar Avin was the closer relative. He didn't have to admit that. And originally he said that he was the closer relative. Originally he said, I'm the closer relative. And therefore, when now he says, you're the closer relative, that's tantamount to saying that, you know what, I'll give it to you as a gift. But I'll give it to you a gift only from now, not retroactively. That was Rav Chisda's position. But Abaye and Rava leisviru Rav Chisda. Abaye and Rava don't hold of Rav Chisda. They say when Marshall retracts, the confession of the Baldin of the litigant is like 100 witnesses, and therefore now he admits that it's Rabbi Bar Avin's, and therefore he has to return the 8 months worth of fruit. Came on the Ode, since he confessed, he confessed. Now, as we start the top of Lamed Gimel Amud Beis, and again, it's great to see all 25 of you here tonight. It especially gives me joy to see the Agudas Yisrael of Fairways being activated and in full bloom. So it's really good to see everybody over there. Rich Barish told me that 35 Skyline is going to be on the market. It's very interesting. Something we should take into consideration. Talk up a storm about it. But anyway, the next case of the Gemara is something that we've already learned. This is the old Eddie Mark shenanigans. Eddie says it's my ancestors, and Mark says it's my ancestors. So Eddie brings witnesses that it was his ancestors way back to the Mayflower. And Mark brings witnesses that he used it 3 years uninterrupted. Now, but he makes a claim, Mark, that it was his ancestors. So comes along Rav Chisda, and Rav Chisda says, Mark has a nifty migu. Why would he lie? He could have just said, I bought it from Eddie and I used it 3 years, and therefore I didn't have to keep my paper. Rav Chisda malo l'shaka. Why would Mark lie? If he wanted to, he could have said, Eddie, I bought it from you, and I used it 3 years, and therefore I don't have to keep the paper. So Abaye Rava say, that's nice. So Mark has a maloi l'shaka. But a maloi l'shaka is not as good as Eddie's witnesses. Eddie has 2 quality witnesses. I'm telling you, Dr. Block and Ruvain Pollack. They say that it's Eddie's. Mark's maloi l'shaka is not good enough as 2 witnesses. And that's a very, very strong argument. Abaye v'Rava leisviru Rav Chisda. Abaye and Rabbi don't hold of what Rav Chisda said, because Mali l'shakar b'makam eidim lo yamrina. A Mali l'shakar, a migu is pretty good, but it's not as good as two witnesses. Now here, Mark says to Marshall, my buzz by Ara, what are you doing in my land? Marshall, what are you doing in my land? So Marshall tells him, Amalei minoch zovne, I bought it from you, Mark, and I used it for 3 years uninterrupted, without protests from you, and therefore I am now the presumptive owner, and I don't have to keep my paper, I don't have to keep the document after 3 years. Now the Marshall's claim is an iron-proof claim as long as he could present us with witnesses for 3 years. And that's where Marshall runs into a problem. That's where Marshall hits a bump. And it's a big bump. Marshall was only able to come up with witnesses that he used it for 2 years. That's not enough. So therefore he doesn't have a chazaka. So he goes back to the Marikama, the original owner, and that's Mark. Amar Rav Nachman Hodra Ara, Marshall has to return the land, and V'hodra Peirei, and he has to return the fruit that he ate for the 3 years, because now it's not his. If it's not his, then he consumed the fruit illegally. Could you put on the air conditioner? Thank you. He has to return the fruit that he consumed illegally. Amar Rav Zvid, but Rav Zvid said, Im toan v'amar leperis yaradati, if he says that I was in the land because I bought from Mark the use of the fruit, in other words, I leased the land for the fruit, so then Naaman, then he's believed. And the reason why he's believed, you know, we have a rule, and the rule is that certain things, we have an anan sadeh, loy chotzev inish, a person would not be so chutzpahdik to go in a person's land and cut off his fruit if he didn't lease it. Says the Gemara, let's see it inside. Amar Rav Zvid. Rav Zvid says the following caveat, as it's so good to have Pesach Sigelman joining us, and I see Elliot Udell joining us for our 29 Zoomers of this young evening. Amar Rav Zvid, im ton v'amar leperis yoraditi, if he says that, no, it's Mark's property, but I leased the land from him, then Naaman, then he's believed even without witnesses. Lavmi Amar Rabbi Yehuda, didn't Rabbi Yehuda say, Hai man denoket magla v'sevila, if Marshall takes a sickle and a rope, v'amar ezel igdura ledikla the planya, I'm going to go and cut down the figs of Mark's palm tree. Dezovne nahale, I bought the rights to take the fruit. Mehemen, he's believed. Why? A person wouldn't be so brazen to go into a person's field and cut his fruit if he didn't buy it. A person doesn't have the chutzpah to cut down a palm tree that's not his. Hachanami here, Marshall will not have the chutzpah to consume the fruit, the lav direi. So the Gemara says, so then why do you say that he could claim that the land is his? And a person doesn't have the chutzpah to go into a land that's not his, to say the land is his when it's not his. Ihachi aranami. No, if it was his land, he should have a shtar. Ara amrinu le'ach ve'ishtarich. We tell him, show your paper. And he can't say, well, I didn't keep it because I had it for 3 years, because he doesn't have witnesses for 3 years. Says the Gemara, Yachi Peirei Nami, the fruit also. Why can't Mark say, where's your shtar that you brought the fruit for me? Says the Gemara, Shtar lepeirei lo yavda yinshe. They only made a shtar for real estate. They didn't make a shtar for the fruit. We're going to stop here now, Rabbi Yisrael, because the next Gemara of Nascha de Reb Abba continues on tomorrow's daf. If you see, tomorrow's daf is not that long, so that will be for tomorrow's adventure, the interesting case of Nascha de Reb Abba. What I'm going to do now, I had a quandary what to do, but what I'm going to do now, before the Chok, I'm going to do the Mishnah Yomis, Tadir V'Sheina Tadir Kaidem,